All right. How's it going, guys? Today we are at KP Racing. Some of you guys might have tuned in earlier or been kind of following us and seeing everything that we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of the nitrous stuff, and we finally got everything done on the car. So that's what we're here today to double check, make sure everything's good, see how much power we're making. We got the Nitrous Outlet kit installed. We got that all dialed in, so we're going to make a couple pulls. We're going to do a stock pull, and we're going to do a pull with the 100 shot of nitrous on it. And we'll see where we're at as far as power-wise, see if we need to make any changements, any adjustments. Everything should be good. We got the watt box, everything wired. We'll show you guys where that's installed. We got the nitrous bottle also installed. We got that filled with pressure. We'll kind of show you guys everything that we've kind of been doing to the car. If you guys have tuned in for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the car and talking about the system. And we're finally finished. We finally got it all done, buttoned up, so we're good to go.
We're good.
You know,
so let's talk about the nitrous kit. I know we've talked about it for the last several weeks, kind of give you an idea, kind of run up to this point we're at now. If you walk over here, we'll kind of show you the install that we've done so far. Now, what we're doing is this is the Camaro kit that fits the 2016 to 2017 Camaro SS. This is the nitrous outlet kit. Over here, you'll see the install that it comes with the plate. Inside the plate, it's ported, so it has holes that come up through it. So as the air comes across, as it's being sucked through, it'll just shoot the nitrous through. In this, obviously we have our fuel line, we have our nitrous line that's coming directly off of these solenoids. What we have here is we have our fuel solenoid. The small solenoid is going to be the fuel solenoid. The bigger solenoid here, this is going to be our nitrous solenoid. And then this solenoid right here, this is our purge. Now, we've talked about this before. This is what they consider the big show. And what the big show allows you to do is when you're purging, it gives off a big cloud of nitrous. It's going to be a lot more. So this option here doesn't come with the kit. It's something you add extra. But you have an option either going with the smaller purge or the big show. We chose the big show because we want a bigger nitrous cloud. The thing about going with the bigger purge, though, is it uses more nitrous. So if you're looking at not wanting to use so much nitrous, you just need just a quick purge, you might want to consider going with the smaller purge solenoid. Some of the things we've done here is to make the fit and finish nice on this kit. What we've done is you can see right here that where this fuel line runs through, we have it running through this valley here and around over here. We notched the cover right here so it fits right around this hose. So it allows the cover to sit down flat, kind of keeps it somewhat of still the stock look on the car without sacrificing this thing hanging up or anything like that. So that definitely helped with the clean install. Something else that we did is if you look through here for the most part, you won't see a bunch of extra wiring. So what we did is we cleaned it up very nicely. And the way we cleaned it up is that we hid our relays for both our purge and our nitrous kit underneath this plate right here. So obviously we have it taped down, but we did mount the solenoids, the relays right there, and then it allowed us to cover it with our Phastek 3-piece underhood plate kit. So that makes for a nice clean install.
Yeah, because if you guys notice, depending on how much nitrous cars you guys have seen, a lot of nitrous guys that tend to have kind of wires and solenoids and lines kind of going all over the place. But we really didn't want that. So by everything we did, we made everything nice, clean, simple, easy. It's a very nice, clean install. And I don't know if you guys tuned into, I believe, on our Instagram page this past weekend. We were actually at Nitrous Outlet at their open house. So at their open house, we entered their car show. It was a good turnout, great turnout. Not a whole lot of Camaros there, but there were a few 6 gens, a couple 5th gens too. But when we entered their car show, we just thought, let's just go ahead and enter. We weren't really expecting much. We weren't expecting anything, and we ended up winning their cleanest install award, which was pretty cool. So shout out to those guys for tossing us that award there.
Yeah, so you can hit us on Instagram and you can see that award. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little award. So and as you guys can see, we just kind of show you the different tips and different tricks of what we did to get that covered. But like you said earlier, we got the lines there, we got that fed there, we got the relays back here. Our wires are all tucked back away, so you're not going to really see them. They're really kind of hidden. And also, let's go ahead and show you the watt box.
Let's show you. So what we're going to show you next is going to be it's a wide open throttle controller and RPM switch, and it also it allows, if you want to run 2 stages of nitrous, you can do that as well. Obviously we're running 1 stage,
right?
So I'm going to show you where it's installed. Ricardo, run around the other side. He's going to show you. He's going to flip the switch.
Yeah.
Kind of give you an idea where that stuff is as well. So I don't know if y'all guys remember when we first talked about doing our nitrous install, we talked about how we wanted a clean install. We didn't want to show switches, we didn't want to show the watt box, we didn't want to show any of that stuff. So if you look in here now, you'll see that we have a clean look. You really don't see anything. So,
it almost looks like a factory install, which, you know, I mean, like he said a little while ago, which is the look we were going for. So we didn't want to see any wires hanging, nothing to be really exposed. So we really took our time to hide everything. And like you said, the box.
Let me show you the box.
Yeah, just go ahead and show them the box.
So remember I said, hey, look, we have this box. We don't know exactly where we're going to mount it, but we said, hey, you know what? We're going to put it in the glove compartment. And that's exactly what we did. So what we did is we tucked it here, okay? Now what we did is, go ahead and flip that switch on. So look, right over here, underneath the bottom is our switch.
Our switch. What this switch is going to do, it's basically going to activate the entire solenoids, the watt box. It's going to activate everything, so that way we have everything for the nitrous system is ready to go.
That's our activation switch. Now obviously, our activation switch, we included footwell lighting with it. So if our footwell lighting is on, then we know our nitrous system is also on as well. Right. So you'll see that it powered up this controller here. Now again, what this controller does, it allows you to set the wide open throttle as well as the RPM, and I'm going to show you that right now. So what we did is we Velcroed it up there. That way we can pull it off and we can stick it back up there and it's out of the way. So this is the Nitrous Outlet WinMax box, okay? And basically we have it, if you see the R and the T on there, that means it's set up for RPM, and it's also set for TPS. So basically the way this activates is at full wide open throttle, it'll recognize the TPS, and at the same time we have it adjusted to come on a certain RPM and shut off at a certain RPM. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea right now what that looks like. So right now if I push all 3 buttons, that allows me to start programming this box. It's going to be menu config, and first thing you'll get is so we're running 1 stage of nitrous. This allows us to go in here, and then we can basically go through and select it. We're enabled, no, yes, okay. Set the RPM. At this point, we can set the RPM to 4. We have it set at 4,000 to turn on, and to turn off. Let me go back through it. I'll show you guys. We have it turning on at 4,000, shutting off at 6,200. Obviously, we're at set on TPS at 80. Go back through, then we can go back to stage 2. We're not running stage 2. We can set the TPS through there. We set the RPM through there, and basically that's the stuff that you need to, when you're going to adjust this box, is the stuff you got to know. We're going to go ahead and turn it off. Bam, we're right there. We're good to go on that point right there. So we're going to put the box back in, and at that point it's activated. It's out of the way, so you don't have to worry about that. Run over there on the other side, and let's look at the switches and kind of show you where we mounted the purge as well. So over here, will that reach over there, or do we need to run it through? Over here on this side, we mounted the arming switch and the purge. I'll let Ricardo kind of show that to you guys.
Yeah, like you said, guys, we got the arming switch over here, which basically ties it has all the nitrous and the purge solenoids. It's got everything dialed into the same switch, so that way when we flip that switch on, it activates the box, the solenoids, the purge, it activates everything. So what I want to do is kind of get you guys a little over here and see if we can kind of get you guys a peek at what we got going on. So what I did was, I have a switch over here that we already have. You can kind of see that blue light off my hand. I have that switch over here already for the lights. I tapped into that switch so that way we can get power off of there. So anytime that switch is on, our box is going to be on. So that switch is just tucked up under here, nice flush. You're never going to see it unless you go looking for it down at the bottom. I got all my wires fed up through here, through the back side, all the way to this side. And what I have over here on this side is actually our purge. Now the purge will show you guys exactly how it works in a little bit. Once we get the bottle turned on and get the purge ready and get the car ready basically to make a pull. So I got the purge there, so it's an active button. So as soon as you hit that button, that purge solenoid is going to activate and you're going to hear it. So once we have that all wired up, I also have my wires down there, down by the pedal to get the signal for the throttle control. So once the WinMax box, once that sees the full throttle, it's going to from there. So that's when it's going to pick it up and make sure that the car is ready to go. So like we said earlier, what we'll do now is we'll show you where the bottle is and show you where that's mounted and how we got everything run through there. The entire nitrous system, most of the nitrous line runs from under the car up under the fuel rail and ties into the solenoid over here. But the bottle itself is located in the back, and we'll kind of show you the final install on that one, what we got going on. Now, we go to car shows, people ask us for t-shirts, and we still needed the trunk room. So we thought, well, we don't want to take up the entire trunk with the nitrous bottle. So, but what we did was we made an extra bracket down here at the bottom, and we basically bolted the nitrous bottle, the brackets, to that plate. It's made out of wood. We took the same shape as the factory piece, took that same shape, and basically made it a little bit thicker wood, and laid it in place, and we're done. So that allowed us to mount this bottle. It's a 24-pound bottle when it's full, to 10 pounds when it's empty, or 10 pounds of gas, I'm sorry, and the bottle itself is about 14 pounds. So once everything's full, it's about 24 pounds of weight. So the factory piece just wasn't going to hold that amount of weight. So we built that extra container back there and got it all working. Our nitrous line runs from here off to the side, and there's a grommet off on this side, this back corner. We just made a hole in the grommet, fed the line down there, under the car, goes all the way to the solenoid. So, what do you think? We're ready for a pull?
Basically we're ready to make a pull. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a pull stock, so that way you can see what the stock number is, and then we're going to make a pull so you can see what the nitrous number is.
Right.
Okay, guys?
Yeah. So we'll make two different pulls. So if you guys want to hang tight, we'll go ahead and get this over here.
So guys, we're here with Jeff from KP Racing. He's going to be making the pulls for us. Jeff has experience in tuning a lot of late model GM vehicles, Ford, you name it, he knows it all. First we'll do is we'll flip the switch off for the nitrous. And guys, this is Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. Hello. Jeff, what gear are we going to be pulling this car in?
This car will be pulled in 5th gear because it's an automatic, an 8-speed automatic.
Other than that, man, basically, rev limiter shuts off at what, about 60, 60?
65, 6600.
600, okay, cool. All right, man, we're going to make a full stock, and let's see what it makes stock, and then what we'll do is we'll spray it.
I don't know about you guys, but I love hearing the car on the dyno. Now we'll go ahead and go over here and see if we can kind of pull the graph up. So let him pull it up here, and we'll kind of show you guys everything that we got going on.
So what is that number?
So there's the max power and max torque. The max torque, we're at 398.9, and max power, we're at 392.6.
Okay.
So it's not too bad for a stock, essentially a stock car. essentially a 100 stock car, especially an automatic, guys. You know, some of you guys that might think the number's a little low. It's an automatic transmission. Automatic transmissions tend to kind of dyno a little lower number. Yes, these modern cars have gotten a lot better at getting the dyno numbers a whole lot better through these automatic transmissions, but it's still an automatic transmission, so the power difference between a manual and automatic is going to be a little different. Now, we do have the cold air intake and the exhaust system on the car. How much power is that going to really make? Really not a whole lot, but probably estimate about 15 to 20 is basically from those mods that we've already had done. So that's not a bad baseline to where we're starting at. And like we said, with this nitrous system, we have it pilled for 100 shot. So technically, we should get about 100 horsepower out of it. Now, with that 100 shot, you can always upgrade from there. You can downgrade from there, depending on where you want to go. Now, depending on your setup, depends on how much you can really kind of do. So you want to do 150 shot. You might have to do a couple extra modifications to make sure that you can get that 150 shot, such as different spark plugs, a couple of different things to get you there. This car right here, 100% stock. There's no tune in it, other than the cold air intake and the exhaust. Spark plugs are still factory spark plugs. The tune is still the base tune in it. So we haven't modified anything other than the nitrous system, intake, and exhaust. Everything is basically a bone stock car.
Now, obviously, at 100 shot, that's what we have on the car. We're going to be basically the stock plugs seem to be okay. If you're going to go more than that, I suggest going to a quarter plug or having a car tuned. So just so you know. Yeah,
definitely. So like we said, we have everything dialed in. I got the bottle turned on, and how about we show you guys the purge?
So let's check out the purge. Jeff, smack that purge real quick.
Now the purge, what does the purge do? Purge kind of cleans the line a little bit to make sure we have all the nitrous right there at the solenoids. No extra air, nothing that's going to actually, contaminate or anything like that. So that's really what kind of the purge is. So we'll go ahead and get the purge, and we'll go ahead and show you guys.
So that's where we have our purge set up. You can pretty much put your purge wherever you want. Since we're running this grill, we put the purge out the front. That'll look pretty cool. So that's where we put this one.
Yeah, we got the flow tie installed, so we figured why not use that bow tie and have a nice display on it. So that's where we went ahead and mounted the purge. As you guys can see, it looks pretty cool. So you guys can, and that's the same purge line and everything that Nitrous Outlet gives you. So if you guys wanted that same effect, obviously you can get it done and make it happen.
Basically what we did is we just routed it down around the front. Obviously we took the front nose off the car, ran it back around, and came out the front. Now we did build a bracket across the front.
Yes.
Because obviously with the purge line and something a big cylinder like that, it's going to whip your purge line. So if you are mounting a purge line, you kind of want to make sure that it's fastened so that the line doesn't whip around. Unless you're running a really hard steel line, this line is an aluminum line that comes with the kit, and that's what we use. Yep. Another thing we did with the line, it comes aluminum. We painted it black just to give it that stealth look, so that way you can't see it. So
yeah. So ours is kind of hidden when we're taking the car. We're gonna go get some pictures done and everything. So you're really not gonna be able to see that, which is really kind of the effect that we wanted. So like you said, something to keep in mind is that line is an aluminum line. So with all that pressure behind the bottle, that solenoid, all that pressure is just going to take that line and shoot it right back. So you want to make sure you got that line sturdy, mounted, to where it's not going to really affect anything once you hit that purge.
All right, guys. So at this point, I guess we're ready to spray it.
Yeah, we're ready to see what it makes.
Kick the fan on. Jeff's going to make the pull.
Let's go. I love that MBRP. Sounds so good.
All right, so here we are, guys.
Let's check out the numbers.
You can see the graph. You can see the difference in the graph. You can see where we had it come on at 4,000 RPM and shut off at 6,200. Now, you know, the reason you can always start it lower if you choose. Obviously, you never want to go below 3,000. We like to start around 4,000 just because we're passed up where basically the highest solar temp is going to be on this engine. And that's what we got. What are we at?
Max power we're at 502. Max torque we are at 508.
So what were we before?
So we were right in the 390s.
390. So it
picked up a little over 100.
It picked up a little over 100 on this one.
Right about 100. So I mean, not bad. We had it jetted for 100, so we were kind of expecting something close to that. And that's what we got. That's great.
See if we got any questions. Hey Jason, how are you, buddy? Cassandra, thank you. What do you do to tune a 2013 SS? Hit us up on sales at FastekPerformance.com. We can let you know about that.
Yeah, definitely.
How much nicer 100 shot? Thanks, Noel. Hello from Rio Grande Valley, and my nephew from Pat. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Yeah, so there's the two different runs, guys, as you guys can see. You know, so as you can see, we got the max torque at 508 is what we're finished with. We started with 398, and the max power at 502. We started at 392.
So you can see from the graph, you can see the pickup in horsepower that you got. So if you're looking at doing a nitrous kit, this is basically what you're going to get just putting this kit on your Camaro.
Yeah. And like we said, guys, with the little modifications that we did, essentially this is the kit that you're going to get. The kit that we sell, that we offer, this is what you're going to get. It comes with different jet sizes, so if you want to put a smaller jet size, you can put a smaller jet size. You want to put a larger jet size, you can put a larger jet size. It comes with the different options and everything that you need. The only modifications that we went ahead and did was add a longer line, route the purge a different way, and that was really about it. Other than that, Nitrous Outlet gives you everything that you're going to need to install it. You know, so I mean, it comes out very well, very nice kit, very easy to install. No major. You got to drill a couple holes in a couple grommets just to get your wires and lines fed. That's really about it.
And that's what we did. Like he said, grommet. There's a big grommet. And what we did to run our stuff is on this side of the Camaro over here, there is a grommet that's probably about this big around, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we did is we pushed through that big grommet because there's enough room in there. You got a wiring harness going through about that big. The grommet itself is this big. So once you remove like the bottom panel underneath the dash, you can run all your wires directly
right in there,
right through here. So you come over closer, you'll see that this is our wiring right here. Now we loomed all our wiring with basically a high temp style wire loom. You'll see these ones right here with these gray stripes. These are the ones that we use. It kind of cuts all the way back through there, cuts all the way back and around, goes all the way back here to the grommet. Then we ran the wire straight into the car from there. Basically, we tapped in. To get the control box to work. We tapped into
the PCM or the ECU.
For the ignition. Right, for the ignition.
Ignition, yes. So yeah. So what it is, it's basically picking up the RPMs. So that's where we're getting basically our tach signal that some guys refer to. That's where we're getting the pickup from, is right off the ECU. Now we know what wire. We looked up the factory schematic and everything, so that way we knew exactly what wire to get at to. So all we did was make a little splice, make a little cut, solder that wire together, and there we go. Everything worked out perfectly. Now, as we said earlier, to get the throttle position sensor, we tapped into the gas pedal. So we got the signal off of that one, and everything worked out perfectly as well. So all that is going to that wind box.
So basically what we ran is, we ran the wire for the ignition, and then we ran the wires out here to connect to the relay for the purge and the nitrous.
Yeah.
So once we figured out, it's pretty easy to install. So like if you guys have any questions about it, if you're doing an install like this and you need some technical help, you can always hit us up, support at FastekPerformance.com. It's something we'd be more than happy with. Give you the schematic layout and everything you need to do an install like this.
Right.
So let me check through and see if we got any questions.
Now some of this stuff, guys, I mean, you might have to add a little bit of wire. You know, obviously with the different ways of routing your wire and different ways of hiding it to make sure it's a nice clean install, you might have to add a little bit, so kind of keep that in mind in case you're doing it yourself at home. Maybe go get a little spool of wire at the local auto parts store and you should be just fine, not a problem. I suggest getting a red and black wire at least, so that way you differentiate the power and ground.
Yeah, definitely want to do that. Travis, nice number, thanks buddy. Thomas, thank you. Kicking, it's sales at FastekPerformance.com. Nice work. Thanks, D. Miguel, what if one wants to run E85 with nitrous, asking for? Yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, talking to Jeff here at KP,
yeah.
he's like, he basically told us, like, if we want to make more power on the nitrous, we can add E85, run more, and we can adjust the timing to get the power we want. So basically, on a shot like this, we'd probably be in the neighborhood. What do you think, Jeff? About 550?
On a 100 shot?
On a 100 shot?
You'd probably be up about 20 horsepower or so. But the benefit is you're going to be able to spray more.
Spray more?
Pretty much as the fuel system can handle. I suspect, you'd probably be pretty close to, factory car, you could probably, make pretty close to 600 at the tire.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a great number. That's a great number. I mean, 600 to the tire on E85 and a little bit more nitrous. That's great. So like we've talked about in the past, doing a cam or blower, you're in the $1,000 ranges. Doing a nitrous system like this, you're under $2,000. Obviously before the E85, but just the nitrous system, you're under $2,000 compared to a cam, which is going to cost you about $5,000, and a supercharger is up in the neighborhood of $7,000. So just depends on what route you guys want to go and what route you can take. So
our buddy Dwayne wants to know what gauge wire we ran. So for the nitrous, when we tied the solenoid together and we ran it back around, we ran it with a 12 gauge wire.
Yeah.
12 gauge wire, and then on the purge, we ran that with the 14 gauge wire just because it's only supplying just the purge itself. But with these two solenoids, the fuel and the nitrous together, it needs more amperage so it can open up the cylinder inside those solenoids and keep it open and keep it from fluttering. So we ran a 12 gauge wire on that all the way around to the relay.
Definitely.
Okay. So
yeah, that's another thing you kind of keep. He brings up a good point right there. Is that you want to make sure if you're going to get another spool of wire to give yourself a little bit longer line, you want to make sure that you have the correct gauge wire, because these solenoids, they move a lot of amperage, so you want something that's a little bit thicker than the normal thinner stuff.
You definitely don't want to run an 18 gauge when you're
trying
to when you're putting these solenoids on, where you're wiring these solenoids. You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
now, obviously, some of the stuff like the trigger wire on the relay, that's fine. 18 gauge is going to send a trigger to it.
Right.
Even when we're running it over to the battery off the relay for power, I mean, a minimum is basically 14, 16, but I think we ran a 12 as well on this. So
yeah, we wanted to be extra safe, especially since we have everything supplied over here, and we're running a little bit longer wire, so we want to make sure that amperage got to where we needed it.
So cool, guys. So this basically lets you know you can put this same kit on your 16, 17 Camaro SS. These are the results that you're going to get. This is real stuff.
Right.
You can run this on the street. You can run this at the track.
Definitely.
Or if you want to see the parking lot blow through the purge, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
So
make 500 rear wheel over the stock 400. That's a great improvement. For a simple, easy install.
And again, we made this a clean install because we want a clean install. The solenoids look good. Nitrous Outlet did a great job positioning the solenoids with their brackets.
Definitely.
The other thing is, inside the car, you can see as well that it's a clean install. So somebody's looking at your car, they're not going to see it. So now, one thing that we have not added to this kit yet is which we'll be adding to it, and we'll show you that as well probably the next couple weeks, is going to be the bottle heater. Okay, it's something I definitely recommend because if you don't have a bottle heater and your bottle's cold, you're basically going to be using this right here as your bottle heater. Okay, so you definitely, the bottle heater is something I recommend. It does draw a lot of amperage, but if you're running the car, then it's not a big deal.
And that's one thing you can put on a separate switch on its own. Hit the bottle heater, keep it on for a couple minutes, turn it off, and your pressure holds pretty well in those tanks. Yeah. So
and with this bottle heater setup that we're going to put in, it has a thermostat. So if it goes to a low temp, then it knows to kick on, bring it to a high temp that you can set it to, and then it'll shut off, and it'll just fluctuate between that right there and keep your bottle the heat it needs to be in. Yeah. So
definitely.
Other than that, man, I think that's all we got for you guys today.
I want to thank KP for allowing us to use their dyno. Jeff for actually running the dyno for us. Nitrous Outlet, big shout out to those guys for making this great kit. And also, keeping us, we're actually kind of working with them a little bit, letting them know where we fed the lines and wires and stuff like that. So we're kind of, the kit might end up being something similar to this with the help that we're kind of giving them. So that's one thing you guys want to look out for. But thanks for tuning in, most of all. Thanks for you guys.
Oh, Miguel wants to see the trunk real quick.
The trunk?
Let's go check out the trunk, guys.
So, like we said, guys, we like the trunk space. We go to car shows. We kind of tend to load the trunk up. But that's our trunk.
So,
Nice,
so like
easy
Ricardo
install.
said, we mounted this. So what we did is we used a piece of plywood underneath it. That way, it gives it some kind of rigidity. You know, it's not bottles not gonna fly around. We have something that we can mount down to, and he shaped it exactly the same way as this carpet insert right here. So it matches completely. And like I said, the bottle mounts tight. You know.
Yeah, that bottle's really not going anywhere. It's mounted down pretty good. Like you said earlier, just took the shape and made it for him, sanded the wood a little bit, and it fit perfect. So we've had no problems out of it. It's still easy to get to. I can still get to the bottom of the trunk if I need to. You know, I can still pull it up. You know, obviously it's got the extra weight of the bottle, but that's about it. Still has everything accessible.
So do we sell an LED kit for the Purge? Dwayne, we don't have one listed.
Not yet. Not yet. That's one thing. That's one thing that we're going to kind of work on too. So that way we can put an LED there, and it's got that nice. You know, at night it's going to be more the effect. It's got the light that's going to shoot with that cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
Or that nitrous cloud. So, that's it.
That's
Any
it,
other
man. That's
questions?
all we got. That's it. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Definitely, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. I mean, like we said, we're going to be adding some other things to this to the car later on down the road. So, again, thanks for just tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.